And she actually, she killed herself last April. It will be 10 months this coming Wednesday. And she was one hell of a fucking poet. Sorry. And so I agreed to come here for a long time. And so by way of introduction, I'm just going to read something I wrote about her when she died. I posted, this is a woefully too small of a picture, but this is a picture of her wearing a beard. She's dressed like George Michael. And people thought that was a picture of me, because we look so much alike. And so I posted that on Facebook, and I wrote in response this, which I actually got to read at her funeral. And I'm very excited to read it now. It's just a couple of paragraphs. A number of people have mistaken this for a picture of me. In fact, this is a picture of my much beloved friend, Ariana, who took her own life Friday morning. I met Ariana when we were both barely able to hold our heads up and our shit together at a Pleasant mental health treatment center in Florida 2 years ago, which I missed very much. By the time she arrived, I'd already been there for a few months, dragging my innards across gravel every day and grappling unsuccessfully with the Rubik's Cube-like task of getting that to stop. I was wary of her at first. She didn't talk to anyone except staff and could otherwise only be seen perched alone on picnic tables, wearing dark sunglasses and smoking endless cigarettes with the unhurried elegance I've only ever seen cloaking old movie stars of bygone eras, women older and unknown in real life. She was an enigma. Eventually, we encountered each other in groups. She was articulate in a way that made my heart hurt. When she spoke, it felt like her thoughts were specially polished rocks, and she chose her words as what steps were needed to nimbly walk around them to reveal their shape. She was an event of intelligence and grace. The first time we hung out on her cabin's porch, I laughed so hard I cried. When you think your life has fallen apart and you cannot forgive yourself for what your head tells you is your part in it, laughing feels like a crime, and I couldn't let myself do it without feeling intense guilt until the day I laughed with her. She was the first person who I didn't totally hate myself around, because she understood in a flash precisely what I was talking about, whatever I was talking about. I felt myself slip into an ease of being that I lost after 2 devastating sexual experiences, a career I gave up to hide them, and the compulsive sacrifice of my most cherished relationships in order to protect the people I loved most from feeling even the slightest hint of what that all felt like. A few months into hanging out, I woke up with one side of my jaw aching because it had slightly detached while laughing with her. That's true. Her ability to toy with words is unsurpassed. She created winding word trails that felt like she was holding your hand and pulling you down some kind of glittery rabbit hole that held an impossible collection of disparate elements in every form matter takes. No shit. Just for fun. I was, and will forever be, totally awestruck of her ability and talent. It twists my heart like a balloon animal that she won't still be spinning more of this vital stuff on her wheel, because it expertly confounded my mind's claim that I would never again experience wonder at something. This is a form of spiritual administration. It's not unlike believing magic still exists, like when you were a kid. It made me frantic with how much I wished she had had the opportunities I had had to make art and be supported by a vast community of other artists and get to live there in art, at once your house and your bread. On the day this picture was taken, I had been asked to offer a taste of drag at an all-girl art group. I ended up just bringing a bunch of my clothes and dumping them on the floor for people to rake through in a dress-up free-for-all while I blasted gay dance music. Ariana transformed effortlessly into the world's best drag version of George Michael that ever happened, using my daily shade of eyeshadow for her beard, and I made myself into a sunny-light Florida granny with bubble wrap stuffed down my stretch pants and rolled and taped into a pair of giant tits, as seen in the corner with the pink wig. You can kind of see right there in the corner. And then we walked around that way for the rest of the day, no fucks given, because being around Ariana, you could do that. All your fucks disappeared when you were with her, and instead it was only you and her, the smartest, silliest girl you've ever met, playing with you in the sand with the swell of children. I will never ever forget the joy I experienced being with someone so exactly like me, not just in the ways I was miserable, but in the precise ways I was weird and laughed and liked being alive, at a time when each day was spent dragging my body back to the relative safety that may be blunted misery offered as an alternative to blind, death-demanding grief. And while she may be dead now, it is my dying wish to see that her writing be published, so she will live in the hearts and minds of those who, like me, are lucky enough to encounter her and be saved. I love you, baby. I wish I could go be in your gingerbread home with you, but I can't. I'll miss you forever in your dainty hands and your silly faces, and I'm so glad I got to be the one to cut your hair. And so this is her poem, which I recited daily in the car since she died. I need magic to subsist. Vikings and pirates and ninjas and wizards, things that excite me to the breaking point. They entice me and incite me to write precisely as society would silence my unique voice. I need magic to subsist and gravity cavities to exist and wands to assist with what physicists insist isn't possible. But you and I, we know that if magic beans can grow and magic dust can make us fly, we're wasting time on those who will never see my trident in the sea making strides towards sorcery. Creating fate with voodoo manifest destiny, like if A plus B equals C, explain telepathy to me. No answer like rising cancer. In my moon predicts the tune the angels play as Confucius predicts my day. So don't tell me to repent for my magical thinking as your shipbuilder of reason slowly sinks. You'll be bound by your logic and your theories nostalgic, but in my cauldron we will brew forever young. Like Tom Thumb and Thumbelina drinking drink me to shrink me in cupboards, covered with engines in tiny form. Yes, magically inclined to design with the divine fantasy at the knee of Father Time. So we choose to believe because believers receive 100-fold all the liquid spectrum's gold. Scoff if you will, but we'll rejoice when you won't and come to rest in our best gingerbread homes. Thank you for letting me talk about my